dear listeners, to episode 42 of the empty rooms of Gorski Manor. Back within the manor we sit before an old hearth, its lovely elemental flames dancing with fire sprites and fire puppets, their puppet screams bursting from their smiling happy lips, two little fangs shining in the fire's glow as they tinkle their bells and twirl and twist and whirl in happiness, there within the flames of magic burning logs. Oh, so very merrily. I could see little flames catch on their heads and shoulders, knees and toes, fire puppets rejoicing in their reawakening. Such absolutely amazing little fellows. Oh, it felt so good to be once again within the walls of the manor. I sighed a few breaths of deep relief and contentment, flowing from that deep place inside my heart, all tensions lessening, melting in the comforting heat of the fire before us. Simon lay against my side, already deep in sleep. Feathers rested on my shoulder still. I glanced at her half-closed eyes, eyelids visibly growing heavier and heavier as she too followed Simon into dreamland. With a big yawn, I too could not resist the call. It had been a long journey within the cellars and lower realms of the manor. I gently placed Feathers on the stone floor, which now was toasty warm. Then, without further thought, I too laid my head down and quickly fell asleep as the puppet's laughter faded away gently as I faded into my dreamland. I don't know how long we slept, dreaming yet not remembering. I found myself within a large room filled with unknown people. On the floor I sat, looking up at them as they passed me quickly, talking fast with grand theatrical mannerisms and gestures, arms and hands greatly adding meaning to their words, words I could not understand, not a single one. Each and every one ignored me, rushing past me so quickly, each one almost colliding with me, but never quite making contact. I stood up with a struggle of sleep movement, each move like molasses, yet I found I was still quite small as I stood my tallest, only the size of a child, only as tall as their waists. "Excuse me," I said, trying to get someone's attention. "Hello, excuse me." No one stopped or made any response that I had been heard or even seen. I reached out to touch a woman who passed next, but my hand went straight through her. Where am I? Is this a dream or a doing within an empty room of the manor? The manor does connect in so many ways to so many realms of the unknown and dimensions of possibilities. I hoped I will remember this when and if I wake up. Now, why did I say that? I, not very good at remembering dreams most of the time. usually only left with the feeling of what had transpired. That feeling popping up days, weeks, years later at odd moments, only to catch my awareness, then disappear back into the unremembering, and me sad for that moment that faded away without understanding. I tried to see past their rushings, to see what else was here within this space. High above was a ceiling, made of large squares of gray stones with spirals within. But not a wall or a window could I see, just the ceiling, endlessly stretching off in every direction, supported by no pillars or posts that I could see. "Feathers! Simon!" I called out, hoping they may be nearby, as I realized they were not by my side. I listened for their response, but nothing. I could feel the closeness as each person continued to come so near to almost bump into me as they passed and rushed. Each time we made no contact, not even a small touch or even a feeling of a breeze that should accompany them. Each time I reached out, my hand always passed through, time and time again. I tried to make contact, the space that was so very crowded with them, yet me ignored and shunned. No, not shunned, for to be shunned one must be noticed. What is this mystery? I started to walk forward, wondering in what direction I wandered. I had no sense of north, nor three, as usually I can feel its pull. I thought I was walking in a straight line, but felt I was curling to the left. I tried to put one foot in front of the other, just like a model does, trying to keep to a straight line, which felt important. Yet I continued to have concern for my gentle turning, for in nature there are no straight lines. I open myself to hear any who may speak to me in this place. I called out and sent my intention to be noticed. I felt agitated, my racing mind frustrated with not understanding, running from one topic to another, faster and faster, one thing, one thought on top of the other, flowing, listening for the answer thought I so deserved. Silence is all I beheld. This was not a pleasant feeling. "Stop!" I screamed, covering my ears out of habit, for I could still not hear them, here inside my head, outside, and here surrounding me in this place. "Stop! Stop! 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 Stop!" I couldn't stop yelling, feeling drawn into a madness. "Voice, help me!" I called, him always there for me when I became too lost. I woke up with a start. Oh, thank goodness, it was a dream. Me so glad to be out of it. I looked around. The fire was out. I looked for the puppets, but they were gone. Simon and Feathers were nowhere to be seen. Where had they gone? Me with that fear they will again leave me. "Voice!" I whispered. Thank you, dear voice. I did feel he had given me assistance and release from that dream. Voice, may I ask for one more thing? Where is Simon and Feathers? And there they came, from around a dark corner, from the shadows, the second I finished my request.
Mistress! Mistress! Where did you go?
They both called, rushing to my open arms. What? I responded, confused and a little creeped out. I just woke up. I have been here all along. They both looked at me and each other in disbelief.
Mistress, we awoke a long time ago. You were gone. Yes, mistress, we have been looking for you. Oh.
Simon said, giving me a big hug. I don't know, I said, rubbing my neck in thought. I had a disturbing dream. I thought it was only a dream. I told them what had happened.
Mistress, it is so sad, to not be seen, Mistress, we see you,
Simon added, giving me a tap and a pat of comfort. Well, it must be a place within the manor. How I got there, I do not know. I called to Voice to release me, which he kindly did. The place was so large and endless. I think a place to understand, I said, wondering if I ever will. We had a quick nibble together, looking around this room as we ate, listening to the stillness, feeling the solid stone floor below us, the trees of life outside the windows swaying in the softly soothing call of the night wind. This room not actually still if one opens and observes. We haven't walked the halls for a time. I feel excited to wander a bit and to be able to choose which way to go, I said with thought.
The manor is so very large, mistress.
I shook my head in agreement and looked around for a door. There was an archway behind us that opened to a hall of empty shelves, which must have been a pantry at one time. Looks like a good way to start. I packed up my knapsack and my broom. Shall we? I invited Simon and Feathers to join me as I walked into the dark pantry. Eagerly, together, we entered this pantry hall. Long, tall, with shelves of painted wood of dark green, and rows of drawers and cabinets, all empty, as we nosily peeked into some drawers and opened some of the cabinets. But all we found were bits of broken glass, dust, and a cobweb or two. The pantry hall finally opened into a large, grand kitchen. The largest table I have ever seen graced its center, its top worn and scratched from ages of baking and cutting and kneading upon its surface. Several huge iron stoves waited against the walls, waited for the fire to burn once again within them, giving them purpose and appreciation. Large sinks, several still sending a drip, drip, drip into the quiet. The energy of this place, yearning for the hustle and bustle of the past, the delicious smells of foods and cookings that still haunted this place. A new sound joined the dripping of the faucets, a rumble of a single breath, a catch of a throat, a creak of old wood. We stopped and listened, trying to figure out where the sound was coming from. We tiptoed towards one sink and stopped. The low sound of snoring floated up to our ears. We looked to each other, placing a finger over our mouths in excitement, pointing to the cabinet under the sink, excited to see who it might be, eager to meet someone new. We covered our mouths as we heard something shift within, saw the unlatched door move outwards just a touch. Holding my broom in defensive posture, I inched forward, Simon and Feathers behind me. Slowly I touched the handle and pulled the door open. In the closets everywhere, a sleepy old soul snores without any care. Always there hidden, so tired he'd be, curled up tight, lost in his reverie. One companion stays with me, beneath his beard eyes peeking to see, watching whomever may come out to meal, to stop them at once or cast them with fear. Sleeping away his day, sleeping away his night, sleepy old soul forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Nobody knows where he will show, under a tree where he might be, beneath the stairs, corners he knows. Nobody knows who he used to be. None can ask the sleepy old soul, for he fades in the woodwork, he fades in the stone. In his dreaming everywhere, his echoes of snoring still sound where he roams. Sleeping away his day, sleeping away his night, sleepy old soul forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Lost in a memory, lost in his head, always he searches for his next cozy bed. If you see him everywhere, don't try to make him shh. I opened the cabinet door with a long, gentle squeak from its unuse. There, curled up snugly upon the shelf, slumbered a round old gentleman. We watched as each deep breath in expelled the next deep breath out to ruffle his white mustache with a puff. His white hair lay slightly tousled on an old pillow embroidered with sailing ships, and his long beard curled tightly at its ends. We watched in wonderment at this sight for a time. "Shall we wake him? He may be trapped in a bad dream." Me remembering what I had just experienced. Simon and Feathers did not answer right away. We all not sure how to proceed. He looked so like a baby, sleeping peacefully, lost somewhere other than here.
Maybe we should just let him sleep,
Simon whispered, starting to inch away backwards. I was about to close the door, but thinking further, maybe we should wake him. Be sure he is okay. Be sure he wants to be here. Simon and Feathers moved away a little further, ready to run if my decision turned out troublesome. I inched forward and stretched out my hand to touch him gently on the arm. I gave him a gentle shake, but nothing happened. I tried again. This time I jumped with shock as from within his beard 2 eyes appeared, looking very cross and formidable. 1 eye green, 1 eye blue, each shining brightly with threat. "Oh!" I couldn't help saying, pulling my arm away quickly in fright, falling backwards with a plop, just missing the scattering Feathers and Simon. I heard a sort of hiss come from below these eyes, yet our antics not loud enough to wake the gentleman who slumbered on. A long, skinny finger and thumb poked out from under the beard and flicked a strong warning, which we totally understood, directing us to move on. The whole bony arm appeared, grabbed the cabinet door so quickly and pulled it closed with a loud squeak so fast it moved. We just sat there, rather discombobulated. That showed us, for sure, and we quickly inched ourselves away from this cabinet. Once we reached a safe distance, I whispered, "What or who was that? Do you know of them here in the manor?"
No, not I.
"What shall we do? I hope the old gentleman is okay. Could that thing be keeping him prisoner?" I mused aloud, creating a narrative of intrigue and oppression in my mind. I crawled forward quietly, intending to take one more peek, maybe be more forceful to wake the gentleman and confirm he did not need our help. Then I slowly opened the door, trying not to make it squeak, but that was virtually impossible, so I just pulled it open quickly, like an unwanted bandage. But it was empty. They were gone. I opened the other side, tapped on the back wall for a secret passage, but nothing. Simon and Feathers joined the search, looking in the next cabinets on each side. On the floor we finally sat, totally confused.
I don't think he wanted our help.
Darn, I should have awakened him. I scolded myself. Why didn't I just call out loudly? With that thought, I did. Sir, are you there? I called out. Hello? Sir, do you need our help? But no response did we receive.
Calm, mistress. Remember, there is something or someone in every corner here at the manor.
Feathers explained matter-of-factly, for that is how it be here within the manor.
Poppets! Mistress Poppets!
Simon shouted. We could now hear their bells and their scurrying little feet. Let's find them, I shouted, excited to meet more poppets. Feathers didn't look too keen on them, but Simon was in for the chase. I jumped on my broomstick, Simon and Feathers safely before me, and we flew out of the kitchen and into the endless maze of manor halls. Poppets! Wait! We shouted, flying quickly down this hall and the next, listening for their bells, which we could hear in the distance, down this hall and that, getting closer, then falling back, a hard path to follow, as they were so very swift within the walls of the manor. We took yet another corner and flew straight into a giant's hand, there blocking our way, coming out of an archway, fingers wiggling, waiting to catch us, and it did. Oh no, immediately we were dragged into a huge hall. Oh, it was so huge, 4 stories high, a cavernous parlor with large wooden beams holding up its great expanse. There knelt a giant, smiling happily at us now within his hand. Smartly dressed, as if going to a ball, he stood up with effort, as he was rather roly-poly, smiling and laughing with joy at his capture. I heard the puppet bells again and looked down to the floor, now far below, to see a group of them coming out of a crack in the wall and jumping merrily at our predicament. Voice! I yelled. Help! Our return to the manor, greeting us with much excitement on this very first day back. Blessings and hugs, dear listener.